Before I say anything else, I hope I can manage this. This was written by John McCrae in May 1915. Come on for it. In Flanders fields the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Emulsive, because I don't think we've ever been to the trenches or in the fields there, but we happened to go there near Christmas. In fact, last time we went to Bruges, and it was snowing and it was cold, and this particular man was a Canadian doctor, and he worked in that hospital, a concrete hospital, trying to help the wounded. There was no light because of course the Germans would have seen any lights at all. They were working by candlelight as best they could, and his friend was killed. And the chaplain said, can you bury him? I have to bury these other people. And he wrote this because it does mean the futility of war. Today, well, we are, as a group, beautifully, I think, celebrating, or not celebrating, but commemorating 100 years since the Great War. It would seem that nobody's learned any lessons, but I think you've done a wonderful job with our Bring 'em By, which is going to be like a tombola, and the memory table is absolutely fantastic. Thank you for all that you've brought, and thank you for everybody who's all dressed up, whatever you've done, red, white, blue, pink, green. This lady here, she's off to meet a GI, I believe, about 9:45. So thank you very much for that. We'll have time at the end for you to shop and for you to look at the memory bridge, some wonderful, wonderful stuff that people have brought. I'm sure we've all got lots more we could have done. So thank you so much. We are going to place a wreath on the war memorial across the road on either the 3rd or 4th of August, which was the actual day when it started. Okay, thank you so much anyway. I'd just like to remind you one or two things. Last month I had a newsletter. I did tell you most of what was in it whilst I was on the stage, but if you didn't get a newsletter last month, will you please take one home? It is a reminder really of what is going on, and then you can't really say you don't know what's going on. Our next meeting, of course, is our members' meeting in August, and it's Jacob's Join. So if you could please bring whatever foods, savoury, sweet, whatever, and we have a talk from the RNIB, and we will give donation to them that night. That's our August meeting. Later in August, I'm having the coffee morning at my house. Tickets are on sale tonight. Lynn's got them there. It's £2.50, and we'll do a tombola and usual things, raffle, and hope to goodness it's fine, because I'm doing hanging baskets like nobody's fashion, because it's going to be all top show at our house. I might even just, you know. The other thing is that our club dinner is going to be the 17th of October. I have mentioned it to you before. It's the 17th of October. It's going to be at North Shore Golf Club. We'll have more details next month with the menu and prices, but I want you to make sure you've got that in your diary. Right, I don't think there's anything else at the moment. And once again, thank you very much, because you look splendid from up here, you really do. And now it's my pleasure to introduce a friend of mine I've known for many years. We're in a Yorkshire Flower Club together. She was in Ireland. Unfortunately, she didn't win something which she should have done, but she did very well last week down in Derbyshire, and she got 2 first. I'd like to welcome, forgot your name, Susan.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Madam Chairman, this evening. She's usually Judy. Thank you so much for inviting me back here. I have been before, and to say it's such a splendid theatre, until I got into the changing room, I couldn't remember it. But you all look wonderful, so thank you for making an effort. I'm not sure that I'm in the right era. I did go to Age Concern, but they let me out, and I had a little bit of a rummage in the loft, and so this is what I've come up with. Right, let's find what I've got. is a tin helmet and a gas mask. And I chose to use them in an arrangement rather than wear them. What we have here is some Pfizer Carpus Ophifolis Diablo, some lovely copper beech, which is perfect at the moment, some Cupressus and 1 or 2 bikini leaves to the front. Now, thinking about the period that we're commemorating, I've got some of the cycas palms, which is probably one of the oldest palms. I understand it's from prehistoric times. This one, in honour of Judy, I've had the spray paint on because you all know how passionate she is about spray painting. So some of the cypress palms that I have sprayed black. And I understand that you had several super duper trips off. If I know Judy, there wouldn't be many spare moments. One lady was saying to me backstage, oh, I wish we'd had more time to actually look around Dublin, but I said to her, I went, I can't remember how many years ago, about 3 years ago now, when there were celebrations to mark Mac's 80th birthday, Reverend Mac's 80th birthday. And we stayed, well, the whole event was in, I can't for the life of me remember the name of the hotel, but it was out of Dublin, on a roundabout, and it was a superb venue. And really the only spare time we had was on the Sunday. We took everything down on the Sunday morning, and in a flea market as a tin helmet. But seriously, you know, I look, it is quite distressed inside, but you just think, who wore it, what happened to them, and it does make you feel very, very sad, and also very fortunate that we live, I know we have troubles, but to live in the times that we do. The gas mask, I cannot remember where I picked that up, but I've had that a long first design for you, thank you. You can still see wee bits of it, but there is interest the whole way around, so please come and look at it afterwards. Thank you. Make this for me. Then again, it looks a look. So I was in the garden for a long time, and I went rusty, which is how I found it. But I've painted it, and then parts of it I've wrapped with a wool that is, you know, very subtly variegated. But the structure you see in the middle is actually hose pipes, that I've first of all covered with the brown stem tape, and then covered with the wool. And in the bottom here, we've got a couple of things. If you pick this up, please be very careful, because it's the polystyrene half spheres. Now this wool, it's a different one to the one we have here, but look at it in the colours. And it's a little bit like the French knitting that we used to do, so it is kind of a little bit like rope, which has enabled me to get the pins through to hold it in place. So then I ran out of brown pins in the middle. But it just kind of carries the colour down. And this one I've covered with the Kyogi paper, little squares of the paper. In the centre, I've sprayed it with the Oasis spray glue, and then the crystals that you can get. Just put those in and swirled it round a couple of times, and perhaps repeated that 3 times. And then the edging is just a little bit of moss stitch knitting, which I've folded over and used a pearl-headed pin. And I usually have some purple balls in there, but I've changed the colours slightly. You could almost mix the colour in that wall. So simple. So I've been up on the loft and been into the Christmas decorations. Some of the stem of the Mitsumata, the Leucadendron Safari Sunset, some Aspidistra ferns, which are actually from the roadside, and have slept in the bath overnight, and some bud here from the garden. I'm going to begin with some Leah. Spend your money on another hoster. Is all I'm saying. They look very pretty, but the slugs don't come anywhere near them. Basically, they're a metal spike that goes into the ground, and then above that is like a conical cage, little metal cage, almost like a sieve that you put your slug pellets into. And then there is a very pretty bell, metal bell that goes on top. And the idea is that they're supposed to take the pellets out of this sieve contraption, but mind you. There's some really gaudy ones, and I chose the most subtle coloured one that I could. It was sort of green with white rather, with some green leaves on. Obviously they don't like it. Just turn that before I add the last flowers for you. And the reason that I intersperse those one or two little marmalade euchres is because I've got some of the terra anthurians, which is basically almost the same colour. Because we have in the tin that the gas mask is in there, it's a similar colour, and there is of course some rust on there. So there's usually those two. He's quite a big guy, isn't he? Mm-hmm. And striding out across the lawn with this thing that's about so big, I never believe. I had to turn away, then he didn't see me giggle. Just get rid of this. So can I thank you so much for inviting me back to Thornton. I do apologise for the microphone going on. Well, I know that I'm sure some of you at the back have struggled, but I just hope that, as we all remember the sacrifices that so many made for us, I just hope that you've enjoyed some of the flowers and the bits and pieces as I brought for you this evening. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the members and guests of the Blackpool, I'd like to give a big thank you for a most delightful demonstration. You started off with that stunning arrangement that made us think that the men were giving our rights for them. Then you went on to the little horse, and I thought, why bother with PlayStations? And then you went to your vegetable. No, there's one next, and that just reminds us of today, the sunshine and a beautiful sunny day. And then the garden, and you said you had no vegetables, but my father used to grow broad beans, and we lived in Derbyshire, and all beside the at the back of the broad beans he grew roses, and all the green fly and black fly went on it, and he always used to win the first at Bakewell's Shelter. And then you went on to that delightful, and the colours are stunning. Yeah, I wouldn't, like you say, sometimes you don't think of having red and orange together. Years ago you wouldn't, but that's absolutely stunning. And that, your arrangement with the wolf, a most talented lady, and I must say, apologise for our sound effects. But a typical NAFA's demonstrator, it didn't ruffle you at all. So thank you very much.
She won the bonus ball last month. And also, she managed to get her photograph taken with the lady who won Best in Show. with the crystal bowl, whatever it is. Which will be on our website, because we've got lots of things. So do look at our website, you know, because there's lots of interesting things on. And the other thing is to tell you that this year a strange thing has happened. There's a new thing happening in area. Normally we have a copy of the calendar and the diary, and the Christmas cards here for you to look at. Well, they're not doing that anymore. The calendars are like the flowers, obviously. The calendar is, the cards are calendar. The calendar is, they've gone back to the original shape, not the long thin thing that didn't sell last year. And the diaries are just the same diaries, there's 2 prices. If you're interested in them, will you see Claudette, because she's got the prices and she'll take a list. And you have to pay, I think next month is all right, isn't it? To pay next month. I think you have to pay by the end of August, beginning of September. So if you're interested, please see that. Right, now then it's time for you to have a go on the bring and buy, look at the memorabilia, come and look at the beautiful flowers, and have your cup of tea. And we'll get back together about 25 past, I think. If you want to buy any more raffle tickets, I'm sure the girls will sell them.
History of Thornton Cleveley's Flower Arrangement Club. In January 1961, 8 erstwhile flower ladies met at the Thornton Lecture Hall and laid the foundations of Thornton Cleveley's Flower Arrangement Society. Their interest in flowers and plant arrangement spread, and with the blessing of the National Association of Flower Arranging Societies, NAFAS, the society grew, and we now have upwards of 80 members. They became deeply involved in the northwest area of NAFAS, visiting other clubs as visitors or advisors, and entering competitions both national and worldwide. As time passed, a junior section was formed to encourage and develop young people to become involved. Members exhibited both locally in the Thornton Flower Show and Great Eccleston Show, as well as Holker Garden Festival and the Lakeland Rose Show, and have welcomed demonstrators and workshops to further our skills. We have always had a particular interest in integrating within the community, and now do workshops, exhibits for societies, libraries and schools. A lively group we hope to continue for many years to come, and look forward to our Emerald anniversary in 2016. My thanks to Judy Brown.